UFC 326. Oh man, it's this weekend. I'm hyped for it. You're hyped for it. It's one of the best main events of the year. One of the cards of the year. Card is very underwhelming. They just gave up on a co-main. I really don't see that shit happening now. They just couldn't find one and said, fuck it, let's just throw the feature fight up there. That's what they did. Really disappointing card. I know like they don't want to make the BMF fight a big card type shit, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, this is such a banger main event. This is going to be one of the best fights of the year, one of the most hyped fights of the year. Even if it's not for a real belt, it still deserves a better card than this. It still deserves a better co-main event than Brahalio versus the Ritter. But that's what we got, so let's go ahead and talk about it. What's up, everyone? This is Hard Takes MMA, coming to you to break down the prelims and the main card of UFC 326. I am skipping the prelims because who the fuck cares about that? I mean the early prelims. I'm skipping the early prelims because who the fuck cares about that? Without any further ado, let's go ahead and break it down. So our first fight on the card, we have Two-Man Drumbull. Guys, I've watched 4 fights of his to try to figure out how to pronounce his name, and it just does not want to come out of my American mouth. So I don't even know what to call him, bro. You know what? His nickname is Art of the Knockout, so we're just going to call him Ark. Bro, I can't. I tried so hard. But Ark is fighting Cody Durden. Now, this is one of the fights I am most confident in predicting, and that is because Cody Elkakui Durden is on a 3-fight losing streak, and I think it's about to be 4. Ark is a Mongolian prospect, but he has a very, very strong wrestling base, very physical, very aggressive out the gate. He has a killer instinct. I think he's going to go in there. He's going to aggressively take him down, and I think he's going to get it done. Cody Durden has been in the UFC a long time. He's scrappy, but he has consistently struggled with higher-level guys. I think they're just kind of feeding him. I think the UFC wants my boy Ark to be a prospect that gets into the top 15 one day, and I think they're feeding Cody Durden to him, telling him to get him out of here. Question is, will Cody Durden get cut after this fight? Good chance. I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm banking on his youth and his physicality. Cody Durden is tough, but Ark is sharper. He's hungrier. If it's close, I think his damage and his pressure are going to get him the decision, but I do think he's going to win by finish. Whether that be submission or ground and pound TKO, I think Ark gets it done. All right, next fight on the card, we have Alberto Montez versus Ricky Turcios. And let's go ahead and break this one down. We have a very exciting submission artist from Venezuela in Alberto Montez. He's won most of his fights by submission. He is 10-1. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. But this is his UFC debut after getting his Anaconda choke win on the Contender Series. Now he is going against Ricky Turcios, who's a former winner of The Ultimate Fighter. He's extremely unorthodox, and he's going to go in there and he's going to cause chaos. He wants to turn this into just an absolute scrap. While Montez is very technical, he's a very technical striker. He's someone who wants to go in there and control the pace while walking forward. He's very good at submissions, very elite ground game. So it's kind of like chaos versus structure here. Who do I think is going to win? And my pick is Montez. I think his structure is going to outmaneuver Ricky Turcios' chaos. Turcios goes in there and he makes fights weird, but I think Montez is just such a technician. I think he's going to go in there and he's going to win rounds. I think he's either going to win by decision or by submission. Now, that is my pick for this, and it's one of the ones I'm more confident on the card. Who are they feeding Cody Brundage to this time? Who do they want to make look good this time? That's the question, because Cody Brundage does not be winning fights, and he is going against a killer in the undefeated Dante Johnson. Like I said, he's undefeated. He is 7-0. He's very explosive, very confident in his ability. He hasn't really fought any top-level guys, but every guy he's went up in there, he's knocked him down. He's made it look easy. Brundage is on a bit of a losing streak. His last 2 fights were losses, a draw before that, and his last win was a year ago. So not that long ago since his last win. It feels like longer, not going to lie. But I am picking Dante Johnson to win here. I don't want to ramble on too much about this fight. You know, it's one of the ones I don't feel like many people care about. I think he's going to be a heavy favorite. I didn't look at the betting odds yet, but I'm just going to ride his undefeated momentum here. Brundage is very volatile, and Johnson is so confident. He's so explosive. He's so athletic. I think he's going to go in there and he's going to look a lot like Jacoby Smith in a way, how Jacoby Smith handled my boy Josiah Harrell. I do like Dante Johnson. He's going to go in there and he's going to get it done. All right, and our final fight we're going to talk about of the prelims, a prelim main event, we have Cody No Love Garbrandt versus Long Zhao. I think that's how you pronounce his name, dog. But I am going to pick Cody Garbrandt here. And this really is a don't break my heart again pick, bro. Cody Garbrandt is on a 2-fight losing streak. He is fighting against Lang Zhao, who is on a 1-fight losing streak. But I think Cody Garbrandt, I think he's going to get it done. Now, we all know Cody Garbrandt was the best fighter in the world for 15 minutes, and he's looking to do that again. Former UFC champion, elite boxing. His chin has been kind of questionable in years, but I don't really think Zhao hits that hard. Now, Zhao is also pretty experienced himself, having competed in 37 professional mixed martial arts fights, and he is high output, but he is less proven in elite competition. Now, that being said, I don't think Cody Garbrandt is really elite competition these days. But I am picking Cody Garbrandt. I think he's going to go in there. I think he's going to knock him out. But more than likely, I think he'll squeak out a close decision win. I don't think either of them are going to look that good, but I think it's going to be a fun fight to watch. And I really hope Cody Garbrandt can go in there and turn it around. First fight on the main card, we have the battle of the Brazilian brutes. We got Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. And I think RoboCop gets this done by knockout again. So Rodriguez, we know who he is. He's going to go in there, and he's so big, and he's so strong, and he hits so hard that he's going to go in there, he's going to make it a war, and he's going to make it a war. He will win. Goes for knockouts, constant pressure. Going against Ferreira, who is also a dangerous striker, who is very athletic, but he can be kind of reckless. And I think he's going to go in there. I think he might drop Rodriguez maybe a couple times. But I just don't see Rodriguez losing this fight, bro. It's a good fight. It's going to be absolute chaos. It's going to be so fun to watch. But I think Rodriguez thrives in chaos better than Ferreira does. I think he's going to turn this fight into a brawl. And I think he's going to land first and land harder. That's why my pick is Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. I do think Ferreira is a good fighter. I don't want to underrate him. But I just don't. I think he's a very similar fighter archetype to RoboCop. But RoboCop is just a better version. That's why I'm picking to win this fight. All right, next fight on the card, we have Michael Johnson versus Drew Dober in a not bet match, bro. These guys are two of the most volatile, two of the most random fighters, two of the most unpredictable fighters in the UFC, and that's why this matchmaking's fire. Now, my pick to win here is Michael Johnson. I don't know if y'all know this, but Michael Johnson is on a 3-fight winning streak. But we're going to break this down. I'm going to break out why I picked him. So, we know Drew Dober has a granite chin. I mean, look at his head. We know he hits hard, he has heavy hands, and he is always in an entertaining fight. Go out there, he's going to be a showman. He's going to try to make it look fun, you know what I mean? Versus Michael Johnson. Now, Michael Johnson has been in the UFC longer than a lot of y'all know. Michael Johnson has some good names on his resume. He beat Poirier, he beat Ferguson, but he is extremely inconsistent. But I do think he's faster. I do think people are expecting Drew Dober to win, and that's why I think Michael Johnson is going to go in there and get it done. I think it's going to be Drew Dober by KO or Michael Johnson by decision. And I think Michael Johnson's going to do it. I think he's going to shock the world. Every time someone writes him off, that's when he wins. And I think this is one of those fights. Pick to win, Michael Johnson. Next fight on the card, we have Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. Now, do I think Raul Rosas Jr. deserves this ranked fight? I do not. But that being said, I do think the UFC wants to push him, and I do think he's going to win here. So we're going to break it down, and let me explain that. So, Rob Font, been in the UFC a long time. He's a veteran striker. I don't think his boxing is as good as a lot of it you think it is. He has a good jab, but I think as a whole, his boxing is overrated. But he does have a very elite jab, and he has fought the best of the best. Now, Raul Rosas is still young. He does have really good ground game, and he is all constantly getting better. But he hasn't fought anyone on the level of Rob Font. That being said, I've been so back and forth on this fight. When it first got announced, I was like, oh, Rob Font, easily. He's going to fucking embarrass Raul Rosas Jr. I can't see it happening. You know what I mean? I don't think Rob Font's takedown defense is all that. I don't think Rob Font has the best ground game. I think Raul Rosas Jr. is going to get a very boring decision win where he holds him down the whole time. And maybe he goes for some submissions, but it's going to be mostly him holding him. Little bit of ground and pound. I don't think Rob Font can knock him out. And I don't think Rob Font can beat Raul Rosas Jr. in a decision win. Picking Raul Rosas Jr. by decision. And obviously, there's some politics involved in decisions sometimes. I think if it's close, the UFC gives it to him. Even if maybe he did lose technically, I think they're just going to give him the win anyway. Because that's what they want to push. You know, we had some questionable decisions lately. And I think even if it's like a thing where like Rob Font like maybe barely won, even if it's close at all, it's going to go to Raul Rosas Jr. That's why Raul Rosas Jr. is my pick All right, next fight on the card, we do have the underwhelming co-main event. That is Caio Borralho versus Reiner de Ridder. And I'm just saying it as it is. I do think this is a disappointing co-main event. If this was a feature fight, I would love this. I do like this fight. I love this matchmaking. I just don't like it as part of a co-main event. You know, we have the middleweight number 8 versus the middleweight number 9, both coming off a loss, fighting in a co-main event on a Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway fight card, bro. This card just deserves a better co-main event. But this is the co-main event we got, so we're going to talk about it. And I am picking Caio Borralho by decision. So let me break it down. Borralho is extremely technical, so is de Ridder. He's a very strong grappler, so is de Ridder. He's a very high fight IQ, but so does de Ridder. That's why this fight's fun. I think it's going to be a chess match on the ground. Obviously, I think Borralho's a guy where he's going to try to hold him down on the ground, hit some ground and pound, but we know how dangerous de Ridder is from the bottom position. That being said, I just don't think de Ridder is going to be able to finish Borralho. No one in the UFC has finished Borralho. He only has one loss, and this time hasn't even a Mavov. Now, de Ridder only has one loss too, but that's to Brendan Allen by KO. And I don't think Brendan Allen is much of a KO artist. You know, obviously we saw him just kind of give up on the bench. So like he did, we know he didn't get knocked out, but you know what I mean? This is only 3 rounds. I think de Ridder did have an effective performance by there based off his like activity. I think just his 4th weight cut in the year messed with him, and the same thing happened to Marab. He's extremely active. And he's a more fun to watch fighter. So I'm going to be rooting for de Ridder. I'm really hoping de Ridder wins, but I just feel like it's going to be a Borralho, like, smudge fest decision win, which is like the worst outcome. It's the worst thing I want to see. But Borralho is just so well-rounded. I think it's going to be a high-level grappling chess match. But I think Borralho, I think he's stronger. I think he's better at takedowns, better at the wrestling aspect. Now, maybe the grappling will cancel out. Maybe he'll be too afraid of taking de Ridder to the ground, and it'll be a thing where it's going to just be a stand-up fight. And de Ridder does have great knees, but I do think Borralho is the more complete striker, so I'm going to pick him to win this one. Unfortunately, I'm taking Borralho by decision, but I'm going to be rooting for de Ridder. And finally, we have the main event of the evening. It's one of the best main events of the year. It's going to be one of the best fights of the year, featuring 2 of my favorite fighters. I dropped a whole separate video about this, so go check that one out. We have Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. In my separate video, I went for like 16 minutes. I trimmed it down to 12. I posted it. So if you want to see the whole long, extended breakdown of this fight, go check that one out, but I'll give you guys the summary. And until I'm torn, I am leaning Max Holloway by decision, and here's why. So Max Holloway, he is such a dangerous 1-2. His right hand, he just hits so hard. He really just clubs that shot. We've seen him knock down Dustin Poirier with that same hit, and I'm worried about Charles' high guard. Charles doesn't have the best high guard. Charles is known for getting dropped in fights. Now, I think he does let himself go down, and I don't think Max Holloway is going to be able to put ground and pound on him just because he's going to be scared to go to the ground with Charles. I think if Charles wins, it'll be based off his wrestling, based off his killer instinct. But I think more likely than anything, this is going to be a Max Holloway decision win. I don't think Max Holloway is going to take risks other than the last 10 seconds of the fight. But I don't think Max Holloway is going to take risks. I think he's just going to go for his volume. He's going to hop in the pocket, land a combination, hop out of the pocket. Charles does have a longer reach, but Max Holloway is faster. So I can see either of them winning. I feel like after the fight, no matter who wins, we're going to be like, oh my God, that's so obvious. How did I not think about that? But I'm leaning Max here. I can easily see Charles getting it done. I'm going to be rooting for Charles. I love both these guys, but Charles is my favorite. But yeah, that is the full breakdown of the prelims and the main card. But before we continue, before we end the video, let's go ahead and talk about the official Degeneracy Parlay. All right, guys, so for the official Degeneracy Parlay, and I don't work any of these out before I do them, so I don't know how big the plus is going to be. This is just pure ball knowledge, bro. So I am going to take my boy Ark, my boy Tumen, blah, blah, blah. I just can't, bro. But I think he's a safe pick. I'm going to take him money line. Next fight I'm going to take is Alberto Montes money line. I'm going to take Raul Roses Jr. money line. I'm going to take Gregory Rodriguez by knockout. And I am going to take Max Holloway but most significant strikes. I think that fight's too dangerous to bet on a money line for. But I think even if Charles wins, Max Holloway is going to have more significant strikes. So I think that is a safe bet for this. But anyway, guys, that is the official Degeneracy Parlay, and that is the end of the video. So if you guys like the video, leave a like on the video. Let me know if you guys are excited for UFC 326. Let me know who you think is going to win between Max and Charles. Go ahead and check out my fully extended breakdown of it. But as always, this is Hard Takes MMA. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and stay hard.
Got a private jet, but I stay up in the shadows. Late night in the city, yeah, I'm winning all the battles. I'm a billionaire, boy, go take the tag, back it. Black on black suit, yeah, custom made jacket.